So I apologize. Two of the candidates are not with us right now. So all we do have is Tina Frankenberger, Dana Greensky, Gary John, and Jane Roll. Oh, sorry. Apologies. All right, so today's agenda is we're going to do a randomized order list live right now. I'm going to use the wheel of names in a second. After that, introductions are going to be 3 minutes each, and it's going to go in order of eldership. So that way we, respect our elders and all of that. After that, we're going to go in order for the Q&A portion. From that list, it's just whoever answers question 1 first is going to answer question 2 last. And then it's going to keep on going in that sense. There's going to be a mini break for 10 minutes, another round of Q&A, and then closing statements are going to be in elder order again, and they'll have 3 minutes each for that. If you give me a minute, I just got an update. All right. I don't think one of the candidates is going to be able to join. So right now we're going to do the wheel of names. Could somebody give me a heads up if you can see the wheel of names right now? A thumbs up?
Yeah.
Yes, you can
We
see
can see the wheel, but not the names.
Okay, all right. All right, so we got, I'm just going to put your first names. Dina, Jane, Dina, Gary. All right, so basically this is going to be the order. Oh, sorry, let me scroll down a little bit. Dina's going to answer first. And Jane. We got Dana and then Gary. All right, and so we are back at the presentation, right? Dana, can you give me a thumbs up if you, I'm only seeing 1 people, okay. So right now, if we wanna do the introductions, Jane, take it away.
Take it away, Jane. Thank you. Aanii Bonjour, everyone. And I think before I get started, I might have to start out by apologizing because I have my 2 puppies here. So that if they get a little rowdy, we'll try to keep them quiet. But for those that don't know, my name is Jane Roll. I am, my grandparents were Clarence Russell and Margaret Southbird. We came from the Shaughnessy family. I'm married to my wonderful husband. We have, he's waving. We have 9 children, and we have 9 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. So we stay really busy with our family and really enjoy family time. I think it's of the utmost importance. Also, for those that don't know my background, I worked in the automotive industry for many years prior to coming to work for the tribe. And when I came to work for the tribe in 2005, no, first time was in 1999, and I was the per capita administrator, and that was for about a year, and just before I married Joe. So I learned a lot about the RAO, and I learned that in and out being per capita administrator. So then I worked for, we got married, moved to West Virginia for a few years. I came back and started working for the National Resource Department which I just love because I like to hunt and fish. So that was really important to me and in tune with the environment. I also went from there to the tribal manager position, which gave me insight to most every department in the tribe. And then I also went to work at the casino at Turtle Creek. So I learned the ins and outs somewhat of the casino operations. While on tribal council, I served 2 terms on tribal council. And some of the important things I think that we accomplished while I was on council is the LLC. You know, I'm hoping that the LLC becomes extremely successful. Also the RAO recalculation, where we make the ancillary businesses responsible for their own losses. We also did the 18 years old for the minors to get their trust money. They had to have a diploma or a GED. The most important one, I think, is that we actually were the first council to get a vote out there to the membership for the cannabis. And that has never happened in tribal history before, where we had the members decide on something instead of the council, which I think is very important. And I have more, but I'll stop there.
All right, thank you, Jane. Gary, do you want to give me a quick second to reset this? All right, Gary, did you want to do your introduction?
There we go.
Oh, okay.
My name's Gary John, tribal member 1661. Lived in the Grand Traverse, Antrim County area all my life. I'm married. I do not have any kids, but I do have 2 stepchildren, 2 grown boys. Been married for close to 40 years now. Hasn't always been easy, but we're trudging through every day. We're doing good. I was formerly a tribal police officer for approximately 4 years, 5 years. Worked for surveillance at LSC, surveillance at Turtle Creek. Was the security manager for Leelanau Sands for 12 years. Altogether, probably about just a little over 20 years working for our tribe. And I enjoyed each and every job. But what they have given me is an inside look at everything. Members, families, the business, and I can say without a doubt that we need more work within our casinos to become, there's too many differences between our 2 casinos. We're supposed to be one business, but they're totally operated differently, and we could do better. And I don't know if everyone knows this, but there are about 24 casinos in Michigan. We were one of the first casinos in Michigan to operate, whether it be tribal or otherwise. But there is a well-known, let's call them a booking company for vacation type things. And LSC and Turtle Creek are rated at number 18 and 19. And for somebody who was one of the first casinos, we should be a lot better. We should be higher on the list, and we should be a destination. And I think this time around, we need to put somebody on council who has that experience, who's seen the insides of a business, both government and gaming, and really address the issues that are out there. And that'll do it, I guess, for right now.
Okay. I do apologize for that glitch in the time. The time still was the same, but I had to let a participant in. So now I know that when one of the windows is up that you guys can't see, it freezes. But Tina, did you wanna, you're up next.
I'm not sure if she was able to get connected. Do you see, is she?
Is she still? Oh, oh no, she went away. Let me, let me message her real quick. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to Dana then.
Awesome. Okay. Aanii, Dana Green Sky, Indigenous, Peshabi Town, Michigan, and Dojaba. My name is Dana Green Sky. I'm from Peshabi Town. I grew up on the reservation. My parents are Deborah Green Sky and Dale Miller. And I basically was raised in the area. I've spent half of my life in northern Michigan. The other half I spent living downstate. I graduated from the tribal school in 2001, and I attended the Grand Rapids Community College. After graduation, I obtained my associate's degree from there. And I continued on. I attended Bear State University and studied business administration and accounting. I was employed by the tribe from 2005 to 2016, and I worked in a few different capacities. I started out working in contract health. I was a billing clerk, and I was having difficulty at that time understanding the budget process. And from what I was able to see, it didn't make sense to me. And so I figured I should probably get back to school during that time. That's when I enrolled at Ferris. And I ended up transferring over to the EDC side after some years, and I worked in the accounting department and for the casinos. And I basically, I feel like I have a good understanding of how the tribe works because I grew up with all the programs that were available to us. And as an adult, I've had to like navigate, different departments and different programs and everything to like support my family. And so I have a good understanding from that point. But I also haven't always worked for the tribe, or I haven't always lived in the area. And I think that having a different perspective is important in any matters. I think diversity, it's something that's really needed, especially within this type of leadership. And so I'm hoping that I would be able to, bridge a gap between our members and our current leadership and just be helpful. And I have more information that I can share at a different time, but I think that's all I got now.
All right, me Gutch for the introductions. Now we're going to move on to the first question. So Jane, can you please describe yourself in one word?
I have to unmute myself. Describe myself in one word.
Yep.
Tenacious, I guess, would be the best word.
Okay. All right, Dana, can you describe yourself in one word?
I would say multifaceted. I am very comfortable in a lot of different settings.
That's more than one word, Dana.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to give like a description of why.
No, this one
myself
is
as being
really quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Gary. Can you describe yourself in one word?
Passionate.
What was that?
Passionate.
Passionate? Okay. All right, thank you guys. All right, the next question. Which grandfather teaching best describes you and why? So Dana gets to answer this one first.
I would say bravery. I feel like having gone through a lot of different obstacles in my life, both as a child and as an adult, I was, faced with a lot of different types of trauma. And I think that I was able to overcome them in a lot of different ways. I'm very fearless in how I tackle a lot of different areas in my life. And so I know sometimes that can come off a little bit aggressive at times to other people, but I think that it's important to always be able to kind of push the line in different areas. I think that being uncomfortable is important because it's showing you that, something's in the process of being changed, and change is never comfortable. And so I always try to embrace that. And so I just think that from my point of view, I think that I've handled a lot of different matters in a brave way, and it's something that's really important to me. I am a mother of 3 daughters, and so I think it's important to lead by example and to instill in them the different qualities that I think it's important for us as Native women to present and to, give back to our community. And I think that might be all that I have.
All right. Thank you much. So Gary, can you tell us which grandfather teaching best describes you and why? Oh, Gary, you're not
Muted.
muted. Sorry.
Who did that? Who's cutting into my time?
I didn't start it yet. You got to start over again.
Okay.
All right, go.
I would say respect. Being in a position as a police officer and a security manager, one of the things that I have learned is that everyone deserves respect, and you have to give respect to get respect. No matter someone's lifestyle, someone's religion, someone's nationality, everybody deserves respect, regardless of how their lives are, how they live their lives. If you want respect, then you have to give it. And I believe that I do that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Jane, which grandfather teaching best describes you and why?
Oh, that's a tough choice, but I'm gonna go with love. I think, at my age, I've learned the importance of, loving yourself, loving your family, loving your community. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I went to work for the tribe is I don't think that people get that feeling working anywhere else in the world, that the things that you are able to accomplish, you're doing for your people, your family, and loving the people that you work with, and all that they are offering the tribe as well. It's to me, that's probably my biggest trait is loving people, places, things, family, pets. I have 2 of those right now that are whining. And that's about it.
Okay. Mean Gwatch. All right, next question. You know what, I'm gonna move this over here. So which grandfather teaching least describes you and why? Another way of saying it would be, which one do you have to work on a little bit? So Gary, you get first go. Yeah, let me, hold on, we gotta unmute you.
Okay,
Yep, there you go.
okay. I would say wisdom, only because I don't have the education, as much education as most of our candidates. I'm only a high school graduate. I did go through the police academy. So a lot of the things that I've learned, kind of learned the hard way. I will be the first to tell you that I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I have common sense. And this isn't a jab at anybody, but having a degree without common sense, it doesn't work. You have to have common sense, and education is a bonus. But I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things the hard way, budgets and things like that. Being a manager, tribal law, fisheries. I worked as a fisher previously as well. So that's, I guess, would be, I think, my weakness. But I manage. I know how to do things. So thank you.
You watch. All right, Jane, which grandfather teaching least describes you and why?
I'm gonna go with humility, and that's only because I don't lack in self-confidence for the most part, but also as you get older, you understand that what people are going through in their own lives, and having compassion and empathy and the ability to make changes to help those individuals it's astronomical. It's something that, and like I said earlier, it's one of the reasons why I came to work for the tribe, because the ability to help your tribal community means so much to me. But I did have to learn, about humility on the way there, and to kind of dial myself down, which I'm pretty dialed down anymore. But that would be the one I work on probably all the time. Thank you, McGutch.
Oh. All right. So the next question.
I didn't answer that one.
I am sorry, I missed that one. Hold on. Okay. I apologize. Okay, go.
Okay, so the one I would pick is wisdom as well. And I say that because I feel like I'm still a work in progress in many ways. I think that I do have a lot of lived experience and knowledge, common sense, as like Gary talked about, but at the same time, I'm very conscious of who I surround myself with. And what comes to mind a lot, or what happens a lot, is that I tend to want to take big steps, and I have to be reminded to kind of slow down, or to, take smaller steps. And so I think that at this point, I'm very teachable, like I'm open to other perspectives and other points of view. I'm just a person that I need things to make sense. I can't just go along with something because it's how it's always been done, or I can't go along with something that's been done, but it's not fruitful. And so, yeah, I still have a lot to learn, not only, personally, but career-wise and interacting with other, different groups and things like that. So wisdom definitely is one of the grandfather teachings that least describes me at this point, but I think that I'll get there.
Thank you, and apologies for that. All right, so the next question is regarding diverse personalities. What role will you fill on a team? And how is that going to fit with the rest of council? For who's going to get on and who's remaining. I just did the long way of writing that. So Jane, if you want to answer that, what role do you fill and how's that going to fit in with council?
I think I'm, because I've served twice before, the one thing that I've learned also serving on council is that everybody, and as the tribal manager as well, but everybody has their own opinion. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, everybody has their own opinion. And I've learned to respect the fact that people have their own opinions. I'm not there to try to change your opinion. I'm there hopefully to present facts and to state my position and why I think the way that I do. But I don't ever think that I'm going to change anybody's mind. That's people make up their minds for, various reasons. It usually has to do with their background, upbringing, education, whatever. It's just, but I would be probably the negotiator. I would just sit there and just act, try to encourage everybody to speak their mind and how they feel and why they feel the way that they do, and share that. We've had times where people just don't share how they're feeling about things and why they're making decisions a certain way. And it would really benefit the other people in the group if we knew why. If you are dead set against something, please share that. Please share that with the rest of us so we have an understanding of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And that, to me, that's extremely important. Miigwech.
Oh. All right, Dana, what role do you fill on a team and how's that going to work with the other personalities who will be on and remain on council?
Okay, so I tend to think very outside the box with different things, and I can be more at the opposite end of different spectrums. And I think that when you're dealing with a group of diverse personalities, like that's not a bad thing, because you can have somebody on this end and you could have somebody like me on this end. But if we can come to the middle part, then that's like the place we want to be, because without either or, there's really not going to be balance. And so I feel like I could bring that to this position. I'm very open and transparent about my background. I'm in recovery. And so having had that experience and having had to have gone through different types of treatment and different services and different programs and things of that nature, there's a lot of lived experience that if you hadn't walked through each of those processes, you're not really going to understand what somebody's actually dealing with, and what that person or that household is handling in that moment. And I just feel like I would be able to help, and giving more information and an understanding of why something might be needed that would help benefit our members who are, having difficulties either mentally or with addiction or any type of other trauma related area.
Gary, you're up. What role do you fill on a team, and how is that going to fit in with all the diverse personalities on council?
One of the things that I always told my staff when I was the security manager, whenever I hired anybody on, I always told them, you might not like somebody. You might not like the way they live, their ethnicity, their sex, whatever. But I've always told them that you might not like them, but you have to get along with them if you want to accomplish what you've set out to do. And that's how I lived. That's how I tried to live, is to get along with everyone, respect their opinions, their decisions. But I also believe that you need to question. You need to question authority. We as tribal members have that right. And we have that duty if we want to make things work. So I'm kind of, I'm not quite sure the word to use. I don't want to say confrontational, but you have to have the ability to ask questions to make things better. You have to be open. You have to be courteous. You have to have that respect, like I said earlier. But you also have a duty when you're on council for the good of the tribe. And you always have to keep that in mind. Keep yourself in check too. Thanks.
Gotcha. All right, so for those of you who are new that came in, because I'm the admin, I'm also letting people in. And when that window pops up, the timer technically it freezes, but the timer is still going once I click out of it. So the next question is, since tribal council does not have job descriptions, how should membership measure your success? I believe Dana is up. I'm waiting for you.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. I was waiting for a start. I would say create job descriptions. I don't know why we don't have that. That's pretty odd that we don't have that. And I have to apologize. My puppy may be barking. You could hear her in the background. She just heard me laughing, so she gets excited. But yeah, if we aren't able to do something like that, how they would be able to measure our success would be, I guess, I mean, an overall viewpoint of how we're handling different matters. I know for myself, one of my main platforms is that I think it's important that we're able to work on communication and building connection within our membership. I think that right now we may be pretty divided because of where we live and where we grew up and things of that nature. And I really think it's important when we make decisions that we include everybody in those decisions, not just people who live in the 6 county service area. And so I think there's different things that we can do to show that we're not just thinking about a group of members, that we're thinking about everybody. And, you know, they might start out as being something very little, but all these little changes are eventually going to add up. And I think at the end of the day, if we're able to keep moving in that direction, we will be able to build a more inclusive tribe as a whole.
And I'm muted. So Gary, you were up. How should membership measure your success?
Like Dan said, I think a lot of it has to do with communication. At this particular time, I think like Benzie County, Charlevoix, Antrim County, the outlying counties feel like they are ignored, and we need to reach out to them more, talk to them more, even one-on-one, not just as a group, but go out there and meet new people. I'll be the first to admit that up in Charlevoix, there are very few people that I know, and if you're a tribal counselor, you should know a majority of your members. Working for the casino, we had programs that listed our employees, and there's a lot of employees that I know, but not personally, and we got to make that personal connection with our membership, not just in Leon County, not just in Grand Traverse County, but all over. We have to let them know that we are there for them and we are serving them. This is actually their job, not really ours. We're there to do what our membership wants and what our membership needs.
Okay. Thank you much for that answer. Jane, you're up. How should membership measure your success?
I think we said there was included in that question was also a job description.
Well, it was just saying, like, since there isn't job descriptions, how should membership measure your success?
And I just want to state for the record that tribal council really does have a job description. If you go to our constitution, it clearly states what the duties of tribal councilors are, and also your oath of office. When you take that oath of office, you're swearing to heed by all of those bullets in the oath of office. And one of them that always pops out to me is like, I'm not there to manage. I'm there to make law by resolution, motion. I'm not there to manage the tribe. That is the tribal manager's responsibility. Also, I think it's important that the members know how councilors are voting. What is your voting history? And they used to publish, how people voted in the newsletter. And I think that's really important because probably not anybody that's listening right here knows how I voted on anything. So when you support or don't support me based on how I'm making decisions for the membership, you have no idea how I've made decisions. I think also when you talk about communication is extremely important. And we've tried several different avenues, the community meetings, the emailing, the Facebook, all of those things. And I really think, again, it's important that we reach out to the membership and what is the best way to communicate with you and what would you like to see? What would you like to hear? Those, I think, are really important aspects of serving on tribal councilors. Also, I think they should be at the satellite offices so they can see tribal members or meet with tribal members on a regular basis.
All right. Thank you for that answer. So the next question is, what positive change have you contributed or initiated within the tribe, not as a tribal counselor or an employee? And Gary, you are up first.
Positive change. Well, I hope equal opportunity for everyone, regardless of your age or your gender. I've always fought for the rights of others to do what they please, or to do what they want, and basically being open. But I'm hoping that people have seen how I've stood up for others that maybe are too afraid to stand up for themselves. not just within our tribe, but in life. My dad was a minister. My mom and he, as long as I can remember, were involved with the church. So they instilled some pretty awesome traits within me. And I hope I make them proud by how I carry myself throughout life. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but I try. You can reset now.
Okay. Thanks for that answer. Jane, what positive change have you initiated or contributed within the tribe, not as a tribal counselor or an employee?
I want to say that since when I wasn't serving on council, when I wasn't reelected, and I can probably say that every single day, I don't have a tribal member calling me, texting me, emailing me on how to maneuver through the red tape of the tribe. And I, being not working at the tribe, I try to lead them in a good direction where they can get the most help and try to make that connection with people. It's almost been, to tell you the truth, it's almost been like a full-time job, people, and that's something that we desperately need to work on is how do we serve our tribal membership to the best of our ability? When you have people calling and leaving messages, who do I talk to? How do I find out this answer? And that's something I've really devoted a lot of my time to in the last year and a half or so. I also like to contribute to the elders with different things. We have elk. We've had elk for the last 2 years, and we've contributed that, and so that they have elk for meals and helping people when they're in need. There's some homeless tribal members that I was able to help maneuver through not just tribal services, but the services that are provided to them throughout the region. And it's just it's difficult. I feel sorry for people that don't have a computer, that are computer illiterate, and how do they accomplish these things on their own. So I had to try to help them in whatever way I can. Miigwech.
All right, thanks for that answer. Dana, I didn't forget you this time. What
Okay.
positive change have you made within the tribe, not as a counselor or employee?
Okay, so at different points, there's been different groups that have tried to initiate the change in our constitution so that we could have all members vote, not just the 6 county service area members. And that's been the biggest task. And the different people that I was working with, we all are parents and had a lot of different other responsibilities, and it's really hard to kind of navigate and to try to get something that huge put together with everybody working full time. And so we weren't able to make any leeway with that, but it's still something that's on like my priority list to do. Individually, I've helped different tribal members in different, smaller capacities. I'm just a very I don't know, if somebody's asking for help, if they're like requesting something on Facebook, and if I have the time and the ability, I'll just go pick up, a housing form and bring it to them because they're looking at being homeless and they don't have any support and they don't know where to go for that. And so I'll just give them resources of different programs within the area that's not even tied to the tribe. We had a tribal member who myself and you, Christina, and some other members from Little Traverse Bay Band, we helped him get into a welding school. We supported him to get into welding. You know, he had a difficult background and needed some assistance in that area. And I think that sometimes all you need is like a network of people, and you know, anybody can accomplish many things. And so that was the one that was probably most important to me that I've done recently.
Thank you much for that answer. All right, so it looks like we're ready for a 10-minute break. So I'm going to start this timer and then just keep checking this when it comes back. But for those who have a clock, it's 6:30 right now. So at 6:40, we'll come back.
He's back now.
All right. So, how was the break? All right.
Perfect.
The last one, Gary went first, just to confirm, right? I have my things over here. It's the, yeah, Dana answered, yep, okay. So, I have notes for myself for next time, definitely. All right, so the next question, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Whoa, what happened here? There we go. All right, so this one was the freebie for those of you who are watching. I wanted to give the candidates a peace of mind of what kind of questions were going to be asked. So I also want to be transparent and upfront that these answers probably are prepared. So they did get this question in advance, but only to show them the types of questions that were going to be asked. So Jane, what types of decisions are difficult for you to make and why?
You know, after I thought about that forever, you know, and I'm a pretty decisive person, you know, to me, there's no gray areas. It's yes or no. When making decisions about anything, I think that it's how you arrive at those decisions is what's at stake. You know, you need to make sure that you've done your research, that you're, you know, communicated or talked to people that are more knowledgeable than you are about whatever the subject is. And I've always said that, you know, I'm not the, I don't propose to be the smartest person in any room. You know, there's a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge in different areas other than myself. So I think it's important, you know, when you're making decisions that you get as much input as you possibly can. But once I've arrived at that, I do not have a problem, be it my friends, my family, my work. It's pretty simple. It's either yes or no. McGlutch.
Wow. Thank you for that response. All right, Dana, you're up. What types of decisions are difficult for you to make and why?
I think when we go back to our teaching of, wanting to plan for the next 7 generations, that's difficult because it requires you to be selfless. And the way that I came to that response was in speaking for myself. I, within the last few years, had to make a really, really hard decision to move back to an area, to our area. And it wasn't something that I wanted to do for my sake, but I felt like it was important for my children. I think that family and connections to our tribe is important. And I got to a place where in my life, I was, needing to set roots, and I was, trying to work towards buying a home and things of that nature. And so, and my thought was, where do I want my future grandkids, to come home to when I'm a grandma, when I'm a Nokomis. And I always thought I want my grandkids to come back to, where our tribe is. But it was difficult, and it's still difficult because we live in an area where there's a lot of racism, and it's the reason why I moved away at different times, and it's still here and prevalent. And so, but when we go back to our teachings and what we're told that we need to do, if we go by that, we have to think about.
Your time's up.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, Gary, what types of decisions are difficult for you to make and why? You're muted. Gary, you're muted. There you go.
They said, what's for dinner? And because I'm the cook. I guess the decisions that ultimately lead to something affecting an individual. I try to be fair with everyone, but sometimes you make decisions that affect somebody personally. I don't ever want anybody to hurt. I don't want anybody to feel left out. And the difficult decision on how to answer this question, it's just, I don't want to, I have a hard time making decisions that affect somebody's life, personal lives, because you never know what's going to happen with that. So I don't want to make any bad decisions in that area. I guess that's good. Thank you.
Thank you much for that answer. All right, so the next question. Let me reset this. All right, so Dana, you are up. What do you think are the top 3 duties that each tribal member has to the tribe?
Service, where you don't gain anything personally, but that you're doing something that will help the tribe as a whole. Leading by example, and doing what you can to just stay in connection with other members, other families, talking, like just connection is really important when you're dealing with a lot of different, difficulties. Like if you don't have that connection and you are forced to kind of have to be segregated from people, it's just not a good place to be. But if you can stay grounded and stay connected, like you're able to like accomplish a lot just by doing that alone. And so I just think it's really important for us as members to like stay connected, talk to each other, do service, and just lead by example. I think that it takes a village to raise a child. And, sometimes, I just feel like we need to take like some sort of ownership over all of our children, even if they're not ours, or even if they're not our families. Like, we have to work together to help steer our youth in a good way, because not all youth have that. And, if you don't have that, then you have neighbors, you have the people at the gas station, like we can all work together and like be each other's
Now your
support.
time's up. Gary, what do you think are the top 3 duties that each tribal member has to the tribe?
Being a manager for so long, one of the things that one of the opinions that I have is we tend to hire a lot of people that just kind of a revolving door. And it's good for us to support our tribal members, give them jobs, give them employment opportunities, but at some point, those individuals also need to support us. They need to become supportive of our businesses, of our membership, of our council. They also need to be involved. Just take the opportunity to do something you've never done before. Become part of the activities. Elders, kids. I'd like to see kids get more involved, the younger generation. And the other thing is to question our authority, question our tribal council. Because if we fail to do that, we don't get any answers. I mean, it's just almost like the status quo. And we need to get out of that. We need to answer to our membership. We need to get them involved as well. So support, involvement, and the ability to question. Thank you.
Much for that answer. Jane, you're up. What do you think are the top 3 duties that each tribal member has to the tribe?
Your number one duty as a tribal member who is of age is to get out there and vote and make informed decision when you're voting. Don't vote because you like the way someone dresses or because we went to school with them, but understand, what the candidates are there and what they're representing, and what you agree and don't agree with is what I think the most important thing that we can do as a tribal member. And just like for the United States of America, you need to make those informed decisions when we vote for our president of the United States. And the same goes for our council. Like you said, we have diverse people on that council, and they have to be able to work together. Otherwise nothing works. It's just stagnant. I also think, and I'm going to piggyback on what Dana said, I think service to the tribe as a member is important, not as an employee, not as a leader or anything. I think service to your or to your tribe in any way that you can is important. You know, join committees, get involved in activities, whatever you can do to provide a service for your tribe with your background and knowledge. I also think one of the things that is overlooked a lot is collaborating. You know, we've been able as a tribe, you know, we're not our own island. As a tribe, we've been able to accomplish so much by collaborating with other entities, whether it be townships, whether it be county governments, whether it be city governments, whether it be different agencies around the area. You know, if we take work really hard as individuals to collaborate to get things accomplished for our members, it's really, really positive things can happen. Miigwech.
Miigwech for that answer. All right. So the next question, it's a little bit long, but it's pretty simple. So you're only going to be one vote of 7 votes. How are you going to achieve your campaign promises if there's no support from the other counselors? And Gary, you are up first.
Well, the one thing that I guess I would campaign for is doing the best job of that I can. I know that the other counselors aren't always going to agree with me, and I'm not always going to agree with them. But as I said previously, you have to expect those, and you have to get along with those others that are making those decisions. And I've had that happen to me before, where I would have a certain opinion, but other people would disagree, and that's okay, because I know my opinion is just one of many, and it's going to be the same thing on council. So I think I will be able to achieve my promise, and that is doing the best that I can, for our tribe and our membership. Miigwech.
Miigwech for that response. Jane, so you're only going to be one vote of 7. How are you going to achieve your campaign promises if there's no support?
I'm actually one vote of 6, and the chairman only votes in case of a tie. So I'm only one of 6. And in my personal experience, it's, you know, when you have a council that's open to meeting, discussing topics, communication, researching, people that want to get involved, and even though you don't know all the answers or you don't necessarily agree, but just by coming together as a group, I mean, it's huge. So you can understand, you know, people's objections or why people are in favor of it, and the laws, you know, how does it affect the laws of the tribe? How does it affect the tribal members? How does it affect the nation, the Constitution? To me, when you have a group that's leading our tribe that is working together, and even if they go into a room, you know, and yell at each other for an hour, I don't care. Let's all work together. We had, you know, weekly meetings, we have work sessions, and we need to discuss all the things that are important to each and every one of us in the membership, and how are we not going to accomplish those things, and make a list of the things that we can get done. You know, if we all agree on something, let's get it done. You know, and if we agree on something else, let's get that done. You know, let's just not sit on our hands, but let's get out there and make these things happen. We have a very short period of time that we're serving on council. And if we want to move the tribe forward, we have to work together to get those things done. Miigwech.
Miigwech for that response. Dana, for being one vote of 7, 6 if there's no tie. How will you achieve your campaign promises if there's no support from the other counselors?
I think that communication is key, and I think that sometimes it is possible to come to an agreement. Sometimes people just need more information or more data to be steered in a different direction. And I think that the majority of what I would probably be doing is a lot of research of different areas to be able to bring that to each of the other counselors. My platform is based on wanting to bring a human aspect to this position where you meet people where they are. And I think that that promise is doable. And it's something that I would still be able to do regardless of if there was support from the other tribal counselors. I try to stay up to date with like the budget hearings and things like that are coming up, even though I'm not in that position yet. But I'm trying to advocate for more funding or to increase budgets in different areas where we can bring the communities more together. And I think that a few of the different ideas I have to do that, if for some reason we weren't able to change the budgets for that, I have a lot of experience with planning different events and activities and things of that nature, which I can completely do just kind of on my own time and using my own resources and utilizing the programs and areas that are around us. I'm very resourceful, and I'm able to reach out to other branches that.
All right, Dana, your time's up.
Okay.
All right, Gary went first. Jane's first. Next question. So the next question: what is one truth in which you believe, which most people would disagree with you? Jane, you're up first.
Are you sure? One that most people wouldn't agree with me? Ooh. I don't know. That I'm stumped by that one. Oh, God, yeah. It would have to probably be for me as a counselor, not personally, well, probably personally too, is that the spending money to make money theory. I don't think that. I think that you need to be extremely watchful and knowing of where your tribal dollars are going and where your personal dollars are going. It's I see us kind of failing in that aspect. We're using money that's really not allocated. And no one seems to, listen to the council meetings, and nobody seems to even note that, that, we're losing money or not making as much money at the casinos as we were last year, and that supports our government budget, but yet they're not doing anything with the government budget, except for borrowing from ops and long-term investments and that kind of thing. So I guess that's the one where I disagree with a lot of people.
Time's up. All right, Dana, what is one truth you believe in which most people would disagree with you?
Okay, so I believe in manifestation. I believe that our words and our thoughts have power. And I feel like from a very young age, a lot of the way that we were conditioned was very like self-defeating. And as I've as I've gotten older, and I've, been able to do like a lot of different self work, I've learned that it really does make a difference. And what you're thinking and the words that you're putting out, into the world, and it makes a difference. There's a lot of things that I probably would never have thought that I would be able to accomplish, 5 years ago, but I was able to. And some of them, they happened, and I honestly, I'm still surprised by them, because I had a lot of different things stacked against me. But I believed it, and if you're able to just kind of envision what you want and what you believe that you're able to obtain and accomplish, it's doable. But a lot of times, it's just the way that, we're brought up to believe is, that the impossible is not possible, where I believe now that it very much is. You just have to get your thoughts and your words intact and in alignment with where you want to go in life.
Much for that answer. Gary, you're up. What is one truth you believe in which most people would disagree with you?
It's kind of going off track a little bit, but for me, it would be religion. I mentioned that my dad was a minister. Both my parents were involved with the church. So my personal belief is in a God per se. Whereas more of our young generation and more of our people are traditional. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. There's, as far as I can see, there's, how do I put it? They're interconnected. They're kind of the same thing. We just have different terms. And by no means do I think they're wrong. It's just what I believe. I respect everybody's decision. There are certain I'm not real sure how to put this. There are certain aspects of our traditions that I believe in and that I embrace, but it's just the way that I was brought up. And I think a lot of our tribal members might disagree with that, and that's okay. I understand that. But I embrace our beliefs as well. I embrace both beliefs. There's no right one or wrong one as far as I'm concerned. Much.
Wow, much for the answer. All right. Dina, you're up next. What was the fourth question of the forum?
What? Ah, that's funny. Let me think.
I see Gary writing and Jane. I just want to say it.
I think this might be close, but it's the one where you asked us what questions or what decisions, what type of decisions are hard for us to make and why.
Okay.
Are you gonna let us know if it's, oh, you're gonna have them. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. All right, Gary, what was the fourth question of the forum?
Quite honestly, I don't know. I'm old, so my mind's going. But quite honestly, to save some time, I have no clue. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Jane, what was
I Gary what he said. Was that a critique on our note-taking skills?
It was just a question I wanted to ask you guys. Um,
You gonna tell us?
I can't remember. So, at any rate, that for those of you who don't know, my background's in HR, and that's where I derived basically a majority of these questions, and that question's always a fun one to ask, just to see, lighten the mood. For those of you who just arrived, Catherine Crowley, Tina Frankenberger, and Aaron Tukro were unable to make it. But so we're going to do the closing statements. So everybody has 3 minutes each, and we're going to go through elder status. So Jane, you are up first.
I just want to say miigwech for holding this forum. I also want to say that it's really encouraging to me to see all of the younger people getting involved, and with new technology, I think that Zooms and all of those things are really going to help. I would encourage trying to reach out to people that don't have internet, that don't have phones and all of that type of thing. But I would just like to thank the other candidates for getting involved. It's encouraging for me to see as many people as possible get involved in their tribe. I just want everyone to know that because I have vast experience with serving on council and also as a tribal manager and working at the casinos, that I do have vast knowledge. I know how to get things done. When you talked about being able to get things accomplished, I know that, if I get voted in, that, there's a list of things that I think is important to happen. And I can present them to the rest of the council and see who supports those things and who doesn't, and then put them on the agenda. That's the way you get things accomplished on tribal council, is you have to put things on the agenda. I also think that, as Dana talked about earlier, that all tribal members should be allowed to vote. I lived out of state for a few years, and the only thing I got was a newsletter and a per cap check, which was, I like the check. But I really think it's important that to get members involved, that we allow all tribal members to vote. And can I tell you that it's not something that's going to be that difficult to accomplish, because the BIA doesn't want to be involved in our decisions. And all it would take is getting that secretarial election requirement out of our Constitution. When you talk about doing constitutional reform, I think that's one of the most important things that we can accomplish. A balanced budget. We got to quit borrowing from our kids and living off of our kids' dime. It's scaring the bejesus out of me anymore. I also think it's important that we start documenting descendants. Our tribal membership is going to decrease as the generations, when you talk about looking forward to 7 generations, we're not going to have a tribe in 7 generations with the blood quantum requirements that we have. I also think that with the recent stimulus, I thought that it was unfair that the membership wasn't notified about how those monies were being spent and what was most important to memberships. And I think one of the things is housing. We really lack in housing in this area, and we really should have focused some of that money on housing. And I'm running out of time, so I'll stop. Thank you very much. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Jane. Gary, closing statements. You're muted. There we go.
Okay. Miigwech for holding this for us, putting this together. I know that's a lot of work, a lot of personal work. It's very much appreciated. I only wish that we had more participants, not just tribal council candidates, but the public in general. But those of you that did show up, I hope you spread this around. Let people know how good this is, how easy it is to join, and the candidates' opinions and thoughts campaigns. There's a lot of things that we need to work on. My biggest focus would be our casinos. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Leelanau Sands being the smaller one, like I said, we're 18 and 19 out of 24 casinos, and we should really be doing better than that. And as a tribal membership, you guys should be asking why we're not rated higher. We should be making more money. I think Leelanau Sands could be making a lot more money than what they are if they would make some changes. But you know, their housing is another issue. The properties that we did build for our tribal members, we got to take care of them, and I don't see that happening. Herkner Road, Antrim County, we put them up, and then they just seem to be put on the back burner, so to speak. We can do better. Housing for single parents, it doesn't have to be family housing. You got kids that want to move out on their own. Apartments, you know, there's a lot of things that we could do. One of the things that has really been bothering me lately is one of our elders was sent to long-term care. We should be taking care of our own. We should be building something or buying something where we can take care of them, where they're going to be comfortable, where they're going to be with people that they know, their own people. We can do so much better. And hopefully I can help make that happen. Miigwech.
Much for your statement. And finally, Dina, closing statement.
Okay, so I really think it's important that we learn from our mistakes and that we acknowledge the mistakes that we've made as a tribe. And one of the ideas that that an elder has thrown out there to me within the last few months was that they were wanting to see like a wanting to do like a healing ceremony, or maybe like a healing type gathering for our tribe. And the reason for that is, just because of all the generational trauma and the different forms of abuse that have occurred. And we just kind of feel like we're at a point where we have to acknowledge that something like those things have happened. And we have to, be able to put down and offer medicine so that we all, together can let some things go and to heal from them so that we can move forward. And so, and how I plan on, if I were to be elected, is I do want to incorporate, our teachings. And so I would be, really spending a lot of time turning back to our elders and trying to include them in a way that's more traditional when we are making larger, bigger decisions. And I just think overall, like, we really need to incorporate a lot of things back into our tribe. A lot of members believe in spending time and focus on bringing our language back and things like that. And I would hope, everybody would be in support of that, but that would be my aim as well. I know that I can be a little bit extreme at times, and I do think outside the box, but I know, like, I'm a good person, and I know that I have good intentions. And so even if I don't get it right all the time, I value other people's perspectives, and I think that that's important. So if anything that I said tonight has, resonated with anybody, I just would ask, that you vote for me, because I would really like to bring forth progress in different areas within the tribe. And thank you, Christina, for putting this on and everybody who's attended today.
How? All right, so real quick, I didn't look at any of the chat, so I apologize to anybody, because if I looked at the chat, it would freeze the time for the candidates, but it just looks, all right, there's some direct messages. Okay. So I do want to say, again, that all candidates were invited. I did meet with all of the candidates last Friday, I believe. We did talk about the pros and cons of the recording, and it was clearly mentioned to everybody that a video would not be released unless all candidates agreed to do it. So if one candidate didn't want to do it, I wasn't going to say who it was. We just weren't going to release it. So right now the recording is still going, and hopefully it does get released so that way this can reach more people. Yeah, so the, again, primary election is April 5th. General election is May 10th. The questions that were shared today were 100% from me. That was my payment for putting this on. But if anybody wants to hear actual, like, different questions that they're more interested in, such as, like, you know, housing or elders or voting rights or just anything that pertains that you want to ask all of the candidates, please submit it so that way I can help filter through them and make sure that there's no duplication. And another thing that I want to point out is I think 3 days ago, so 3 days ago, the numbers, there are 538 tribal members who are eligible to vote, but are not registered. So if you guys pull the numbers from the past few years, we only get about 300 to 400 voters. So the number of unregistered voters who are eligible, if they voted, they can change the vote 100%. So I believe that voting is on it's the responsibility of 3 entities, the election board, the candidates, and tribal members. So please, if any of your friends or family are part of that 538, please have them register and have them reaching out to your candidates to find out who they are and how you feel about them. So you gotcha, everybody.
Thank you, Christina.
Thumb up.